Is this my full-time job, and how much do I get paid? So, next question, best atmosphere. What's the best atmosphere? I think hands down, it was... Welcome back to Matt the Groundhopper channel. Today is a little bit of a summary video. It's not going to be long, so please stick with me on this one. So last Saturday I attended my 48th ground on my 160 list, which is exactly 30%. So it's a little bit of a milestone for me. And if you're familiar with the channel, the list that's on the screen now, I tend to pop this up when I'm outside the ground and explain what ground number it is and how many I've got to go. But in a nutshell, I'm looking to attend and see a game at 160 grounds in England, Scotland and in the National League, including Hampden Park and Wembley Stadium for domestic games. And I've attended 48, and the list is like a little running total of what I've achieved in the year. And there's also another little box which says other, and these are just other games I've been to that are not on my list, because I do tend to go to non-league games, which I enjoy doing, and I've been over to Merthyr Tydfil in Wales, etc. But as you can see there, I've been around the UK a bit. I've been up to Hartlepool and down to Exeter and Ipswich and over to Merthyr Tydfil, and in Scotland I've been to Ayr United, Kilmarnock, Queen of the South, St Mirren. So that's my list. I will complete the list. There's a few crazy away days I've got planned in the future, going up to things like Peterhead, Stranraer. I mean, these are places that are very awkward to get to, but they will get done. They're on my list. I'm determined to do it. So a little bit about me. So pre the channel, I started the channel about a year ago. I've probably been to about 60 grounds pre the channel watching Gillingham play. I'm a Gillingham fan. And I've been to many away games, but I started the channel, I say, about 12 months ago, and I just wanted to go to all the grounds in England. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to film it as well. So it means I'm going back to quite a few grounds I've already been to. But I was in Scotland. I was in Scotland last year. I was selling a property, and I was in Glasgow, and I had to go and see my conveyancer. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and watch a game in Scotland. I was with my friend John at the time, and I had a choice of watching either St Mirren or Partick Thistle. So I chose to go and watch St Mirren play because it was the closest to me, and we watched St Mirren versus Livingston. And I thought, you know, I want to film this to see how it goes, and that was just over a year ago. And I thought, I'm up here, do you know what, I might add Scottish clubs to my list as well, so that's another 42 on top of my 90s and the 24 National League, and hence why I've got my list of 160. So that's where the 160 list has been born from. The first game was St Mirren, which I really enjoyed. And I've literally been every weekend ticking off the games, ticking off the grounds as best I can. I've been to a couple of grounds twice for the channel, but I try and go to a different ground every week if possible. I would love to go to watch Gillingham home and away every week, but if I do that, I don't tick off my grounds as much as I like to, so hence why I'm very much a neutral at many games. So that's my story. I've got some questions. I get a lot of questions on the channel that I don't get a chance to answer when I'm outside the ground. So I thought I want to address these questions now, because normally I forget, or I just can't seem to sort of manoeuvre the questions into the video when I'm out the ground. So I'll start with the questions now. So these are questions that have been posted to me, and I've sort of collected them and collated them over the last couple of months. So we've got some obvious questions, but so I'll answer them one at a time best I can. So first question, I've had a few people ask me is, what is the best ground I've been to in the last 12 months? So the best ground for uniqueness for me is probably Ayr United, Somerset Park. And the reason I say that is it's pretty much terrace all around. The ground hasn't changed much in about 40 years, and I'm a very old school. I like old school football. I love watching football from the 1970s and the early 1980s on TV, and the ground hasn't changed at all really. And I know they're doing upgrades. They're putting a roof on the terrace opposite the main stand. So Ayr United was my best ground for uniqueness. Again, a couple of questions. What's the worst ground I've been to? I mean, like, I don't like to sit here and openly criticise a ground or a club, because, you know, everyone's passionate about their own ground. But I think the one I found the most boring, if I can be fair, is probably Walsall, Bescott Stadium. There was no atmosphere. I think the reason I say that is I was there as a Gills fan. We lost 2-0, and I just don't think the home fans are very loud either. So it's a bit of a boring game. So maybe it's a bit unfair. The Poundland Stadium, but the Bescott's probably the worst ground, the most boring ground I've been to date so far. So sorry, Walsall fans, if you're watching. Next question: best atmosphere. What's the best atmosphere? I think hands down it was Hillsborough. I went and watched Sheffield Wednesday at home to Bolton on a Friday night, and I think for atmosphere, I was behind the goal. I think it was the Cop end I was sitting at. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was opposite the away fans. So I think it's called the Cop. And I was sitting the ground, and there was a trumpeter behind me playing the drums, and the noise was incredible. And the hairs stood on the back of my neck. It was a great atmosphere for a Friday night under the floodlights. So that one sticks out in my mind as the best atmosphere. Second best atmosphere was probably Middlesbrough. I tried up to the North East back end of last season, and I really enjoyed my time up in the North East. And sharing a game with the Middlesbrough fans. That was pretty good. Biggest surprise. What's been my biggest surprise regarding the grounds? I would say it was a non-league ground. I went to Dulwich Hamlet, and it was an Isthmian Premier League game. Dulwich Hamlet versus Chatham Town, and I sort of followed Chatham Town as well because they're local to where I was born. But Dulwich Hamlet, if you don't know where Dulwich Hamlet is, Dulwich is in South London, and Dulwich Hamlet, the crowd was over 2,000. It was about 2,200, I think it was, for a non-league Isthmian Premier League game, which is pretty phenomenal. I mean, they're getting bigger crowds than some League 2 clubs. So Dulwich Hamlet, I really liked that ground. It was the biggest surprise. Great atmosphere, really good food, just a good day out. So Dulwich Hamlet is my biggest surprise. Is this my full-time job, and how much do I get paid? No, it's not my full-time job. I have a full-time job. This is very much a hobby. I do get paid, not a lot, if I'm being honest. You get paid money as a YouTube creator. You get paid per views. The bigger the channel gets, the more views you get, the more money you get, and you can get things like sponsorships and patrons and things to decrease the money. So no, I don't get paid much. I have a full-time job. I would like to post more videos, if I'm being honest, but my work dictates my diary. I have a family as well, so I have to shoehorn in videos, weekends, some Tuesday nights. So I'd love to sort of just go away for weekends at a time. I could have done years ago, but I can't now. So no, it's not my full-time job. I mean, there are some sort of famous YouTubers that do something very similar to me, who are much bigger than me. Footy Adventures comes to mind, and people like Thogden and stuff. That is their full-time job. Would they be earning great money? I don't know. They'll earn a living, if I'm being honest. They'll have great experiences travelling around Europe and maybe around the world. My advice to them is get a trade because it won't last forever doing what you're doing. And I would definitely back it up with something else other than just keep doing the YouTube, because who knows when the bubble will burst for them. But a lot of the YouTubers, a lot of them very young lads, and a lot of them live at home in their bedrooms, producing their videos, no expenditure whatsoever. I mean, you know, I have a house, I have a mortgage. This here I'm sitting in now, this is my garden office where I work. So different circumstances, but no. So I do get paid. It's not a lot currently, but I do have a full-time job. What's been my best experience to date? I think it will probably be when I watched the League One playoff final in Scotland it was the second leg of the final. It was Hamilton Academicals versus Airdrieonians, and I sat in the away end with the Airdrie fans and sort of talking to the guys, the fans there. I think they'd lost 9 previous playoffs, I think, so this was their 10th opportunity to get promoted via the playoffs. And of course, it predictably went all the way through to extra time and penalties, and they won a penalty shootout, and they got promoted into the championship. All the fans sort of run onto the pitch, and it was just a really good day, and I really enjoyed my time there. Unfortunately, Hamilton got relegated in the same game. That's how it works in Scotland. So, yeah, so being with the Airdrie fans, getting promoted was the best experience for me. What's been my worst journey, and have I ever missed any games? So, I think the longest journey without any problems was to Barrow away. I went to see Barrow versus Gillingham. And if you've ever been to Barrow before, it's one road in, one road out, or one train line in, one train line out. So it's quite a long journey. It was a nice journey, but very long trip to Barrow back in the day. The worst journey I had where there was a disruption is I went to Scotland on the train. Normally fly to Scotland. I thought I'd go on the train, and there was a problem with the train in front of mine broke down around about Preston. So I'm going from Euston to Glasgow, and I was delayed in Preston for 4 hours, and I was delayed again at Carlisle for another couple of hours. So in a nutshell, I left my house at 8 in the morning and I got into Glasgow at 8 p.m. And the kick-off for Partick Thistle, which was a playoff game against Ayr United, was at 7:45. So it took me 12 hours to get to Scotland, effectively, and I missed the first half. So that's my worst journey. The trains that day really, really let me down. It's just the most awful experience. So, yeah, so that's my worst journey. And another question here, do you ever go to Premier League clubs, or you simply do as lower league clubs? So that's not true. I have been to some Premier League grounds on clubs. So I've been to West Ham, but it was a Europa Conference League game, and against Anderlecht. I've been to Brentford versus Gillingham in the EFL Cup last year, when the Super Gills won on penalties. And I have been to a Premier League game, which was Southampton versus Fulham, back end of last season, where Southampton got relegated. I don't always go to lower league grounds. I spread it about a bit. I see who's available and when I can go to that ground in England. But I think, in a nutshell, Premier League grounds, price-wise, are very expensive. I mean, to get to Tottenham or Arsenal, you have to sign up and become a member. And I think with Tottenham, you have to pay £40 just for the honour of being a member before you can even begin to get tickets. So it's not the easiest place to get to sometimes if you're not a member of the clubs. And I will go to the Premier League grounds. They're on my list. They'll get done. But I just enjoy going to lower league grounds, if I'm being honest. I just love going to National League grounds and non-league grounds, League 1, League 2. I enjoy football, whatever level it is. I'm not totally all on the Premier League. If I'm being honest, I don't find the Premier League that exciting. I get a bit bored with the Premier League. I prefer the pyramid below it, if I'm being totally honest. But the grounds will be done because it's on my list. And finally, a few people have asked me this: what is Coke and Mars about? Why do you do that? So I didn't plan to do it. Coke and Mars, as you've seen my videos, it's pretty much in most videos. It's a bit of a weird thing to do, if I'm being honest. But it all started when I was at West Ham last year. Half time, went down, thought get a drink maybe, and a friend of mine who was a West Ham fan, he did pre-warn me about the price of food and drink at West Ham, inside and outside the ground on the concourse. But when I looked at the prices, I mean, they're selling pies and Cornish pasties and things, but you know, a bottle of Coke and a Mars bar, it comes to £6, which I didn't buy through principle. I wasn't going to pay that. And I just thought, that's not right. That's £6 really expensive. And I thought, well, how does that compare against other clubs? Because football clubs are notoriously expensive for buying food and drink. So I thought, well, I'll make a note of that. And then the next game I went to, I just made a note of it. And then suddenly I got a little bit of a mini league table started. So that's how that league table started. But I don't know how a club can charge £6 when you go to another ground and only charge you £3. I mean, why they think Premier League fans are rich, I don't know. Because it's just another way of Premier League clubs fleecing their fans, which again is another reason why I don't really like Premier League clubs, if I'm being honest. But so that's my little gripe. So that's why the league table started. I just started with West Ham, and it's just grown from there really. So every time I go to a ground, I just check out the price of their Mars bars and bottles of Coke or Fizz, and it just gives me a decent comparison to see if West Ham will ever be toppled. I don't think it will. They're top. I think Wembley Stadium are second, £5.70 from memory. But that's why I do Coca Mars. I don't do pies and I don't do pints, because not every club sells pies, and not every ground, especially in Scotland, they don't sell pints. They don't sell pints of beer. They don't sell any alcohol in Scottish grounds, but everybody pretty much sells bottles of Coke and Iron Brew and Pepsi, and they all sell Mars bars and Twixes and Snickers. You get the gist. So, and that's why that has been running for the last year. I'll continue to run it because I just find it a bit interesting, really, to see how much of a rip-off the bigger clubs are as opposed to the smaller clubs. So that is pretty much it. I'm out and about again the weekend, tomorrow. Don't know where I'm going yet. I'll have a quick look at the fixtures. I was going to go to a London game, but all the marches and demonstrations in London, I probably won't. I'll probably swerve London for a week, and I shall head out further. Thank you for watching. Keep leaving them comments. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because, as I say, if I haven't been to your ground yet in your club and it's on that list of the 160, then I will be going there at some point. And I'll be having sort of smaller trips around Scotland in the new year. Wanted to get to Scotland this year, haven't had a chance due to work, but in the new year I'm planning a few trips up there so I can sort of chip off 2-3 grounds in one go. Yeah, and I'll keep producing content as best I can. I try and keep it as quirky and as different as possible. I like to talk about the grounds more than the game, if I'm being honest, because for me it's all about ground hopping and checking out the grounds and what the grounds look like. And the game is the reason I'm going there, but it's all about the grounds and the experience of getting to the grounds. So that's why I'm probably more focused on the grounds as opposed to showing lots and lots of footage of the game, which other vloggers do, which is fine. But for me, it's about the ground and just picking out the highlights of the games, and that's why I do what I do. Thanks again, and I will see you at my next football video vlog. As I say, will probably be tomorrow. Maybe another lower league ground. We will see. And I will see you at my next ground. And bye for now.